der Daimler Podcast.
In this episode with George Mussing, Vice President Digital Vehicle and Mobility, or how Dieter Zetsche called him, Mr. MBUX. One of George's responsibilities is the development of the infotainment system MBUX and its integration into our vehicles. I am Jessica Abt and I have the pleasure to meet George for our podcast. And because he has so many interesting things to tell, we decided to split the interview into two parts. So today you can listen to George Mussing episode 1 and the second part will follow in 2 weeks. In this episode, we speak about the inspirational moment George had when watching his 5-year-old son managing the TV via voice control.
He was sitting in front of the TV or the phone and then just saying, I want to see Star Wars 3 and then getting the thing. He didn't know how to write. He didn't know how you spell it, but he knew that he just wants Star Wars 3. Click. It was this click. So if such 5-year-old kids can do it, then in the car you can just make sure that the features that are available, they are so easy to explain.
George reveals which features of MBUX he likes the most.
Speech we talk about, so this is something great. Augmented reality, the touch display, great design, phone. The next feature is the whole ambient light and energizing comfort, massage, seat heating. Those are the stuff that I like.
And we talk about his favorite Easter eggs.
Some. The first thing is about the joke. And being a German engineer, the system giving you an answer. Sorry, but I'm German. So there is another joke that I will not try. So because it's about the competitor.
So stay tuned as we'll reveal the answer in today's episode. But of course, we start this episode like we start every other Headlights podcast with 3 times 30. I ask George 3 questions and he has 30 seconds to answer. What is the most exciting thing about your field?
The great exciting thing about my field is the innovation. So working with new companies, working on great new technologies, working on innovations. So this is the greatest excitement on the development of the new electric and electronic architecture.
What does nobody understand when you are talking about your field?
Software-defined architecture. So, it is not so easy for people who has been hardware engineers. It's a little bit difficult for them to understand what is it. So this is not something that you can quantify. This is not something that you can touch. It's really difficult to explain it to someone. Therefore, you need features to make it more easy.
And last question is, what role will your field play for society 10 to 20 years from now, do you think?
I think the software area in general will be the biggest change that we have ever seen within the society. It will have an influence on all different domains that you can see in the whole environment. I mean, it started already, banking, now we are in the automotive, so it will roll out through all different sectors within the society. So I think software in the future will change the world, will change our behavior, will change our way of seeing and acting. So.
Okay, perfect. So we will hear more about that in a few minutes.
Great.
But first of all, George, please give us a short profile of yourself. Who are you and what are you doing at Daimler?
Oh, who am I? So George. I am dad. So,
okay, first and foremost.
With 4 kids, which is the nice part of my life. So big family. So I like chocolate. So,
who doesn't?
I am sweet. So one of the sweetest guys. So my team always say, in order to keep me awake and to keep me in a good mood, you just have to put some chocolate or some candle or some hot milk with honey. So then I'm done. So you have me on your side.
Okay, good to know.
I like to work. So, this brings me to the second part of my life. I like challenge. I was at Mercedes, move on, work for a supplier, work for another OEM. So, and came back now to Mercedes, and now experiencing this new challenge or this new era, which is digitalization, in which the whole company is going through. So something great, exciting, and being part of that journey and being part of the leading team that's bring the transformation of Mercedes is something really great and appreciate. And in the private, I'm also making a lot of social work, because I always believe, so as a leader, okay, you have to give back something to the society. I mean, I came in Germany with a scholarship from a poor country. So, and having achieved what I have achieved so far, so I am the opinion that you have to give back something to the rest of the society. So I'm involved in a lot of small social projects here and there.
What kind of social projects do you do?
With a small group of friends. So we have given the task to ourselves to bring young kids through the education to a wealthy world. So we are investing privately some money in building school, offering school materials to kids, working together with some NGOs who are working in the medical area to offer some kind of medicine help to the people, but always with the aim, so put the people in the position that they can help themselves in the future.
Exactly.
So, so this is something that is I always see for myself as a reward. If I see somebody growing, so and then having some achievement, so it makes me more happy than everything else that I'm doing so far. So, yeah.
Totally understand it. What hopefully also makes you happy is AmbiUX.
Of course.
So, but for people who have never heard about AmbiUX, what is it all about? What was the basic idea behind it?
AmbiUX, everything about people. So, and this is our biggest challenge. So, how to put the customer in the center of everything that we are doing. So every action, every development, every new features that we are bringing in, the goal should be to give to you, customer, back time. If you are able to listen to music in the car, have a phone, navigate, come up to your destination on time without being stuck in a traffic jam with a Mercedes, then I've done my job great. So this is as simple as it is. So I want to make sure that when you're driving a Mercedes, you are just, for you as a customer, you get all the different functions that are needed for you.
A very special feature about AmbiUX is the whole operating with the language. So many technical devices we have, they have become more and more complex.
Yes.
And many people, they don't even know what their car or smartphone can do.
Yes.
So was it important for you to use language to find a more natural way of operating with a machine?
Yes. So, and there is a very simple reason for that. The first thing and the easiest thing that the human do is talking. So, and I always take this example as my youngest kid was 5-6 years old. So we were sleeping on Saturday. You don't want to be disturbed, and then he's coming in the bedroom, and I want to watch TV. So, and then we just told him, yes, go down and then just watch TV. So, but because I was tired, so I just sent him out. So, but I was surprised after an hour, he was not coming back to ask, hey, Dad, how can I do this or that? Then I went down to the living room, and he was sitting in front of the TV, the phone. So, and then just saying, I want to see Star Wars 3, and then getting the thing, and then scrolling through the different movies, and then just touching at it. So he didn't know how to write. He didn't know how you spell it, but he knew that he just wants Star Wars 3. So, and just by saying it, he got what he wanted, and then he could scroll and watch whatever he wanted to watch. The easiest communication way of the human is speech.
So that moment with your kid, watching him doing the whole TV thing, was that a kind of inspirational moment for you?
Click. It was this click. It was like, okay, he doesn't even need to know how to write Star Wars. He doesn't even need to know how to spell it. But if he can say it, he can get everything that he wants. So for me, it was just like, okay, so if such 4 or 5 years old kids can do it, then in the car, you can just make sure that the features that are available, they are so easy to explain, and you should be able to have everything that you want to do, right? So this was a very inspirational moment for myself.
So what can MBUX do that other systems can't do?
Oh, so first of all, I'm always saying this is the ultimate mobile device. So we talk about mobile phone, but your phone cannot drive.
Cannot drive me. That's true. I tried, but he can't. Doesn't do that.
So the car as your ultimate mobile device is already something great. There is a lot that you can now do with MBUX. So first of all, everything that you have within your vehicle is something that you cannot do so outside of the vehicle.
True.
Once. So second, as an ultimate mobile device, it can connect your car world with the rest of your environment. So if you think about the integration of Alexa, you can connect it with your home device, or in China with the rest of your environment. So this is something extremely great that I believe none of the existing mobile or non-mobile device can do.
The technology behind MBUX is called Natural Language Understanding.
Yes.
What does that mean?
With the involvement of software in the vehicle and the involvement of AI, so artificial intelligence, we came away from a command-based application to, okay, now I want to imitate the human. So I can learn. So now the system can learn and be better and better and better and better with the passage of time. So the natural language, as is mentioning, you just want to talk as you are talking, as we are talking
exactly.
at this time. So with AI, so this is what is now enabled. And the system is not like a person. So it grows. So with us, it learns more and more and more with us, and it gets better and better and better with us.
That's fascinating. So how did you manage that MBUX can do that? Because as you just said, you cannot only say, Mercedes, please navigate me home. You can also say, Mercedes, make it more East Coast.
Yeah.
And the air conditioning.
Exactly. So there are complex use cases, and there are use cases where you don't say it explicitly what you want,
exactly.
But the system still understand, okay, the example, East Coast.
Make it more East Coast.
Oh, West Coast is, okay, warm, cold.
So, how did you manage that?
We were talking to customers, and we were trying to figure out what is it that the people say. So in different regions. Or what are some analogies that the people are doing. So and this is how you get to know. Okay, so what are the stuff that the system need to learn? So again, we have a learning system. So you just have the system to learn and understand. When I'm talking about East Coast, it's cold. So West Coast is cool. It's warm. It's nice. So
so you were just collecting data after data after data after answer.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And in different regions. So because it's also something that the people say differently.
Yeah.
So from region to region. I know some of the people that ask me, and when are you gonna be able to talk Bavarian? I say, okay, so it will come, but
Actually, that's my next question. How does MBUX cope with dialects?
it is.
It tries.
We are trying. So in China, because the different dialects have huge amount of user, so there we have a lot of dialects. So Mandarin, Cantonese, and so there is even within the non-automotive key technology player, there is no one who has a dialect coverage than the one that we have with the MBUX. So definitely not. So and the same is on the tech. But of course, when you now come to Germany, between German and Bavarian or Berliner or all those different languages, we still have to train our system to understand it. So at the moment, MBUX is just talking about, how you say, Hochdeutsch.
Hochdeutsch, yeah. Okay. Do you have any tips for us when the system is struggling to understand us? We just have to repeat, or
it is like when I'm talking to you. So. Sometimes I don't really understand your questions, so then the system is asking you, "Hey, you can repeat
what
it
the
different,
heck do you?
Or what is it that you want?" So and same. So
just
sometimes
the
you just
same.
say, "Oh, can you say it different? I didn't really get you. So can you say it different?" Sometimes you just have to say it different, and then the system get it. And if that is not the case, then most of the time the system really doesn't have an answer. So and then we learn. So. As I said, we are like kids. We are growing. So,
That's very, very good. So MBUX, we talked a lot about the voice assistant, but that's not only it. What also does it entail?
We already talked about touch display. So we talked about fingerpad. So the aim, keep the hands of the drivers on the wheel, keep his eyes on the road. So this is part of it. It is the design. So it is all this nice hanging screen, all the user interaction, the ease of use. So it's our touchpad, it's our direct touch. Those are the key ingredients of the overall MBUX.
I also heard that we have not the same services in every country of MBUX. Where do we have the most at the present? I heard you can order food in the US. Is that true?
Yes. And I think not surprising, China is the one who has the most use case so far.
Yeah.
Because what we have done also with MBUX, we have built a platform that allow each and every single region to implement the features that are important for that specific region. China, you can order food. You can go on the weekend at the bar drinking and order a chauffeur.
Really?
So that the next day your car is waiting at home. So and he brings you back home. So they have a lot of different services that we are not used to here in Europe. So US. So as you mentioned, a lot of stuff around food ordering, your horoscope.
Really? That's great.
A lot of question about the market exchange, so stock exchange, things like calculator. Those are the stuff where the Americans are interested in. So I remember during the World Cup, we had the results of the games and the planning of the games. This was something that was amazed and extremely used in Germany. So
of course.
specifically, this was great. So it is really from region to region, those specific topics. And the good thing in the system is, yes, it can adapt. So you can just do it.
Yeah, it learns and learns.
Yes.
Perfect, okay. I just bought a couple of days ago a new A-Class.
Yes.
And it has the MBUX system, which is awesome.
Great.
But does that mean that my A-Class and me, we can grow together?
Oh.
We can become the perfect team, is that true?
Oh, yes. So, I mean, I hope we will come up to that point. This is there should be a kind of symbiosis.
Yeah.
So between you and the car learns a little bit about you, and
I
you
hopefully learn about the car as
you
well.
you learn about the car, but not in the way that you are forced to do it.
Yeah.
So there will come some time you will ask some question that the car can answer. But this is the same between you and me, right?
Yeah.
So
Wait for it.
there are sometimes some questions that I will not be able to answer, and then I will just tell you, okay, let me check.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
this let me check. This is something that the system also has implicit. It is a learning system, learning algorithm. So, and the next time you come, you will be surprised. So every time you will be surprised.
Okay.
So it's some new features.
Okay, that sounds exciting. So, in the development phase, what different teams and partners were involved?
So the first of all, the teams. So what we have done here, we brought a lot of development internally. So we call it our garage. So here in Sindelfingen, we have teams in India. So we have teams in Sunnyvale, Silicon Valley. We have our teams in China, so who are involved in not writing specification, developing. So by themselves. And of course, we had also the involvement of different partners. In the case of the speech, one of our partners, so Cerence, which, by the way, went to the stock exchange, and you have some additional partners like SoundHound that were also involved in this overall development.
Why did you decide to launch MBUX in the new A-Class first and not in the new S-Class model? Usually all our innovations we bring in the new S-Class.
So first of all, we wanted to surprise our competitor.
Yeah, you definitely did.
So and I remember at the CES, so some of our competitors that came and they were like, but this is not for the A-Class, right? And yes, for sure. And this is not why. When are you launching it? I told them in 3 months we are launching it. But in the A-Class, I told them yes. There is something, the DNA of MBUX is about digitalization, and the customers, young, digital affine, were the target that we had. So they are more willing to try.
Yeah, of course.
So they are like, okay, with the smartphone, so they're always trying something, and also there. Sometimes, I mean, we knew that at the beginning you will make some baby mistake, and since they are used to have baby mistake in this phone and the different apps that they are having, as for them this is something normal. As long as you are showing the intention to always bring something new to correct the different mistake that you're doing, so those customers are willing to say, okay,
Yeah,
it's good.
yeah.
It's fine.
Okay. You just talked about the competition. How certain were you that you would be faster than the competitors with the idea for and with the development of MBUX?
We knew how conventional OEM are thinking, and we knew that our biggest challenge was actually not the conventional OEM, but the new tech companies who are also pushing and trying to enter into this segment. I mean, this screen is bigger than a smartphone screen. So, and this is the most expensive screen that you have ever imagined. There's 750 billion.
Really?
So market cap on this screen because of the thing that you can do with it. So you can imagine that big companies like Apple, Google, Alibaba, so all of them are interested to get into this screen. So this was actually one of our biggest concern. So or challenge. The conventional OEM, it was okay. So, but we knew that it would be easier. So to surprise them.
So, please, George, show us where we are at with MBUX. Give us some examples for commands.
So I think there are different commands within MBUX, and the most exciting as we just say. So is this natural way of talking and speaking. So, and here now in my vehicle, I've store, for example, my home address. So, and now if I want to go home and I'm somewhere, I don't know, so I just need to say, so, hey Mercedes,
How may I help you?
drive me home.
Let's go.
So I had already an address inside, so that's why it asked me. But you see, I have saved my home address once, and now just wake up and go. So something interesting that you now see here on the screen is augmented reality. So if I've given my address, so this is something that is extremely amazing. So if you can test it in your new A class when you are coming closer to a traffic light.
Yeah.
So today you have all this package sometimes that is hindering you of seeing the traffic light. So with the new MBUX and your augmented reality, the car recognizes that you are at the traffic light, and you will have here on this corner the light.
On the screen.
You don't need to start looking back. You will just look at the screen.
Now I get it. This is the front.
It will change exactly. It is the front. It is so it will just change, and you will see here the light changing to yellow and green, and you can start. Those are some type of new features that you have in here. Another interesting thing is we try to couple the light and the voice assistant. So if I say, for example, I want to change the temperature, so I just need to say the command and just look on the temperature and look at the light behavior. So, hey Mercedes, I'm cold. So,
I'm setting the temperature on the driver's side to 26 degrees.
so what you have seen is, so the temperature goes up and the light change to red. So it gives you also an indirect information. The car gives you an indirect information. Hey, I've changed the light. Everything is red. So it's hot now.
I gotcha.
So I got you. So this is this type of communication with the vehicle that makes it really exciting. So and there are so many commands in that direction. That goes if you want to go to Northern Eye and you don't know if it's raining, you just need to ask, or do I need to wear my boots? So then you get an information. Oh, okay, no, it's raining, or the temperature is like this. So an indirect way of communicating with the car gives you information about the temperature. So this is an amazing system.
Perfect. Okay. So from your point of view, what are the 5 or 3 best features of MBUX? What do you like the most?
Woo! So speech we talk about. So this is something great that I think we have used 50% of the potential, and hopefully will come more. Augmented reality. So we talk about the touch display. So great design. We have here a very simplistic way of bringing the whole HMI. You see, we always have in each application the 2 main direct function that can be applied. So we know that the thing that people do on radio is listening to radio, or when you have a destination like here. So I have my destination entry. If I stop it, then I have my destination entry or my home address. So I can just click here, and then the system start and go home. Phone. They are the next feature is the whole ambient light and energizing, comfort, massage, seat heating. Well, those are the stuff that I like.
Yeah.
So,
Everything that makes it comfy.
Exactly. So on the instrument cluster, we have what we call this main mode. So you see it specifically on the navigation. So where you can have what we call our full screen mode. So sometimes when I'm having long direct drive and I'm driving a little bit far, I can listen to my music here. I have my navigation here.
I
I
see.
can zoom in, zoom out, and look at everything. If I have a destination
So you
there,
can split the
I can
screens.
split the screen, have everything related to driving. So on this screen, looking at it, so nice, so great, and then everything related to entertainment or phone and all those other stuff going on the main screen. So yeah, those are the main features that I really like.
Okay,
So,
I gotcha. And what is your favorite Easter egg? Do you have one?
have some.
Yeah, tell me.
The first thing is about the joke. And being a German engineer, so the system giving you an answer that I'm sorry, but I'm German. So there is another joke that I will not try, so because it's about the competitor. And when you ask what the system think about this competitor that I will not name. Then you get an answer that I like to see him on my rear mirror, so behind me.
But of course, we want to hear the answer of MBUX, and as I promised at the beginning, here it is. Hey Mercedes,
How may I help you?
what do you think about BMW?
They're nice. I like seeing them through my rearview mirror.
Nothing more to add at this point. Thanks for listening to the first part of the interview with George Mussing, and don't forget to check out part 2 in 2 weeks. In the second part of our interview, George and I will talk about how customers use MBUX most commonly, what we can expect from MBUX in the future, and how the chances are that one day we will play racing video games in our Mercedes. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Headlights. If yes, subscribe and leave us a like or a comment. And I hope you guys join us for our next episode in 2 weeks as well. In the meantime, check out our other episodes of Headlights or tune in into the podcast from our colleagues of Daimler Trucks and Buses, Transportation Matters.